Welcome to Castle Farms Homestead. Today I'm going to show you an old-fashioned way to preserve eggs. Because right now our chickens are laying really well. We have 15 hens and we get about 12 eggs a day. So if you haven't kept chickens before, you might not know that chickens don't lay eggs every single day, and different breeds lay differently. So the breeds that we have, most of them lay about five times a week. Some fancy breeds only lay like 2 or 3 times a week, and some lay closer to 6 times a week. So getting 12 eggs a day is awesome, but we have excess eggs right now. And then as the weather changes and the days get shorter, chickens will lay less. So it's really the length of sunlight that determines how well they lay. And surprisingly, that the days are shorter and it's cooling off and they're still laying really well. So we're grateful for that. But we do know that come winter, they're going to slow down. So we want to preserve the bounty of eggs we're getting now so that we'll have them all through the winter season. So what we're gonna do today is called water glassing eggs. And I have never done it before, but I have a lot of friends who have. And a friend gave a class out here at our community a couple months ago. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that for the first time. So I have this beautiful basket of eggs. Aren't they pretty? So that's one of the best things about having chickens is different breeds of chickens lay different colors of eggs. And we choose our chicken breeds kind of based on that coloring. So anyway, they're exactly the same inside, but they're just so pretty on the outside. So what we're going to do is mix up some hydrated lime, also known as pickling lime, which the chemical name is, now I'm going to forget, calcium chloride, right? Brady's going to double check for me. So we're going to mix that into a solution we're going to mix it with water, which will turn it into a solution. And it's 2 tablespoons of the lime with 1 quart of water. And I've got a nice big jar here. Isn't it cool? We bought a house 20-ish years ago from a couple who were hoarders, borderline hoarders, and they left a lot of stuff behind. The husband passed away and the lady was in a nursing home. And so this was in the house, and I just think it's a cool jar. But you can use any kind of container. I've heard people do it in a 5-gallon bucket, but then if you have 1 egg go bad in there, then the whole thing is bad. Plus, a 5-gallon bucket is going to weigh 40 pounds or more, so it makes it hard to move around. So this is a big jar, but it's probably a gallon jar, I'm going to guess. And so we'll just go from there. So I've got water. You're going to want to use purified water, which if you live in town, you can just let your water set out for a few hours and let the chlorine evaporate out of it. This is just our well water, so I don't have to worry about that. And then it's 2 tablespoons of the lime, which is the lime that my friend gave me, which I think I was worried I might not have enough. And I do have pickling lime out with my canning supplies in our shipping container, so if I need more, I can run out there and grab it. And then you just want to stir it until it's dissolved. And then the eggs that I have put the date on them. That looks a lot like milk. I put the date on them, so as we pull them out to use them, we'll know how old they are. So some interesting things about eggs, if you've never kept chickens before, is that they come out with a coating on it, and it's called bloom. And if you watch a chicken lay an egg, it's kind of damp as it comes out, and it takes, depending on the weather, I don't know, 10 to 30 seconds for that to dry up. But that bloom keeps the egg coated, and it fills in all of the pores in the eggshell, and it preserves the egg. And in most countries, they just sell eggs as is, and they don't wash the eggs. For some reason in the US, we wash the eggs, and when we do that, we wash the bloom off, and then they have to be refrigerated because they won't last as long. But we've had eggs sit on the counter for probably a month or so, and they're fine because we don't wash them. Sometimes you have to wash an egg because it comes out rather nasty, but these should all be pretty clean. I'll look at them as I put them in because you don't want to put a dirty egg in for obvious reasons. So actually, before I start, I'm going to pull my hair back so I don't get hair in there because I shed all the time. I'm going to give this one more stir. Kind of looks like it's settling. Okay, and then I'm just going to put the eggs in really carefully because obviously I don't want them to crack or anything. And today's November 21st. So we'll check these again in a few months. And today is my brother's birthday, so shout out to Ron, who I used to call Bubba when I was little because I couldn't say his name. So shout out to him. I don't really call him that anymore. And we'll see how many eggs will go in here. I thought about counting before I did it, but I'm not that organized, so I'm just getting them in. Oh, isn't that cute? I won't put that one in. But look at these beautiful colors. Aren't they gorgeous? I just think it's so fun to have different colored eggs. And the reason that most of the eggs that you buy at the grocery store are white is because Leghorn chickens lay the best. Like they lay the most eggs most often, and their eggs are white. So most commercial egg producers have Leghorns, but most of us homesteaders like to have different colored eggs. Okay, so I am going to definitely have to make more solution. I'm just going to keep layering these in. And that is pretty, oops, okay. That one's a little bit nasty, so it's not going to go in. And I love how all the eggs are like different sizes. Like sometimes you have eggs that are really big, and like this one's kind of like pointy, so just kind of depends on the chicken and that day. You have to have the water covering the eggs completely to make this work. So I've got 1 more tablespoon of the lime that's handy right here. So I'm going to do like a quart of water. Stir that up. And you don't have to do all the eggs on one day. You can, like I could, just do what I have here, and then I can add more on another day. And all the lime is going to settle to the bottom, and this will actually end up being clear. So, but isn't that cool? It's just like a super simple way without refrigeration that you can preserve like what's in season right now for later on in the winter when you won't have it. And then once I'm done here, I'm actually going to go out to the shipping container and get some of my pickling lime and finish this up because we have eggs in baskets kind of like all over the house, right, Brady? So no shortage that we'll be able to fill this up today. And then I'll probably write the date on the top of the lid so we'll know what day I put them in, and then we'll do a video when we use them. But my friends do this all the time, and they say that the eggs are just fine, no problem, as long as you put in good eggs that aren't cracked and don't have problems and that aren't dirty. And these should keep for 9 months to a year. We'll probably use them in the late winter, early spring, and they'll just sit probably in our cabinet until we need to use them. Now you know how to water glass eggs, and this is one thing that we're doing to get us one step closer to being self-reliant. Let us know if you have any food preservation methods, what you do in your home to save the bounty for later on. Do you can food? Have you ever made beef jerky before? Let us know what you do in the comments below. And if you like this video, like the video, share it with your friends who might not know how to do this, and we'll see you next time at Castle Farms Homestead.